So Thomas Tuchel has just announced his first ever England squad as manager for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers against both Albania and Latvia. And in this video, I'm going to give my initial thoughts and reactions to the squad that he has picked. 2 videos in 2 days. What has this channel become? So I've got the squad here on the England football website. The first 3 things that probably stood out to me. 1, Dan Burn got his first ever call-up at 32 years of age. He's actually going to be 33 in May. So by the time the World Cup rolls around next year, he's going to be 34. I'm never quite sure where I stand with these picks because he probably has played well enough with the options available to warrant a place in this squad. But he's obviously not one for the future. Like next summer, is he going to be first choice centre-back or even in the squad? I wouldn't be so sure about that. But he has probably done enough to deserve a call-up at some point throughout his career. So I don't mind it, but I always think, could you get a younger player in there to give them some experience that is going to be part of the future? But I think it's okay overall that Dan Burn is in the squad. Let's see how many minutes he gets. As a side note, it's quite an interesting dynamic with Tuchel because he's only been given a contract until the World Cup next year. So he's not necessarily thinking long-term about the England squad and what it will look like in kind of the tournament after, the one after that either. I mean, maybe he'll get kept on as manager, maybe he'll want to stay, but we don't know that. So maybe a different manager would have picked a slightly different squad. I don't know. Dan Burn, absolutely fine. Player that I'm really happy to see back is Reece James. I think I saw someone on Twitter say that it's been 2 years since he was last in an England squad. Delighted with that. I think generally because of his fitness concerns, the future of that right-back spot is probably Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think what he can do outside of the defensive stuff is just well worth including him. We also don't know whether Tuchel's going to play a back 3 or a back 4, so we'll have to wait and see on that. If Reece James can stay fit, though, he probably is the most complete right-back that England have. But we've said for many years now, if he can stay fit, and it never happens. So delighted that he's in the squad. Let's see how his fitness holds up. I'm not sure he needs another 2 games in his calendar against Albania and Latvia, but presumably he won't start both of those games. If Tuchel plays a back 3, Reece James could be also really good as a right centre-back in a back 3 and not as a wing-back, so he doesn't have to maraud forward quite so much. That might also protect him from a fitness point of view. So Dan Burn first call-up, Reece James first call-up for a while. I don't think that's a surprise either, the Reece James one, because obviously Tuchel worked with him pretty well at Chelsea. The thing that really stands out, the third thing, but probably the most... The thing that I noticed the most is Jordan Henderson back in the squad. I'm really surprised by that because he was left out of the last one by Southgate after he featured heavily under Southgate in previous England squads. I don't really get it. Like, I'm trying to picture right now if Gareth Southgate was still in charge and he just announced a squad with Jordan Henderson, football Twitter will be going absolutely nuts. And maybe they are about this pick, I don't know, but maybe they're not because it's Tuchel. I won't pretend that I've seen him much at Ajax. Maybe he's been brilliant. But again, I don't really see him as a pick for the future. I don't see him necessarily even in the squad next summer. He's certainly not going to be starting. Declan Rice is going to start. You need someone next to him. It's not going to be Jordan Henderson. Maybe it's an experience call. It's all well and good calling up lots of young players. You probably do need a bit of experience in the squad. So you've got Kyle Walker in defence. You've got Jordan Henderson midfield. Jordan Pickford's obviously been around for a long time in an England shirt. And Harry Kane up front in the forward section. Maybe that's part of it, right? To have that experience there. I'm really not sure about it. And I just know people would be going absolutely crazy if Southgate had picked Henderson again. But I guess it is what it is. I guess when you see a player that is called up that you're not convinced by, really you have to come up with a player that should be in instead. It's no use just saying he shouldn't be in, he shouldn't be in. Who should be in instead? This squad only came out like half an hour ago, so I haven't had time to fully digest it. Off the top of my head, Conor Gallagher, if he's fit and available, should he have been in instead of Jordan Henderson? I think Tuchel's the kind of manager that could get Gallagher playing better than maybe we saw him under Southgate. And actually, while I think of it, Adam Wharton is not in the squad either. He is definitely someone for the future, potentially because he's only just recently back from injury and they don't want to risk him playing more matches. But you've picked Reece James. I don't think there's too much less of an issue there. I'd really like to see Adam Wharton in the squad very soon for England. Maybe in the next squad that Tuchel has to pick. I'm not sure when that is. Probably September, I would guess. I think Adam Wharton, alongside Declan Rice, is what people want to see. There was a lot of talk about using Wharton more in the Euros. I kind of understood why Southgate didn't do that. It was his first time in the squad. He's still very young, but you've got to start bedding him in at some point. I think he is the future. I think what people were saying last summer, which makes a lot of sense, is Wharton is the kind of player that it feels like every other international team has, or at least the best teams have had, and England never do, or very rarely. Like maybe like a Carrick type that didn't get used that often in an England shirt. So Wharton, by the way, I'm not missing him here, am I? Yeah, no, I'm doing this reaction pretty quickly. Yeah, he's got to be in at some point. I'd like to see him in the next squad. Maybe it was just a fitness thing. I'm sure Tuchel will hold a press conference talking through some of the picks, why they're in, why they're not. Elsewhere, defensive. Let's start with. Let's go back to goalkeepers. Actually, it's Henderson, Pickford, Ramsdale, and Trafford. I think James Trafford in particular is probably the England goalkeeper that people are touting for the future, not for right now. But he'll kind of be next in line for that number 1 shirt. So it's good to see him in there. Nick Pope, I think Nick Pope is a really good shot stopper. Like, he's always someone that people want included. He's a really good shot stopper. He's so bad with his feet, like really bad. And in the modern game, I just don't think you can get away with that. He always just looks super nervous. I think Jordan Pickford's done very little wrong in an England shirt, so he deserves to be there. I think Dean Henderson will make a shout, though, to try and push him for that number 1 shirt. And if there's going to be a change in that position, it's going to be under a new manager. I suspect that Jordan Pickford will still be number 1, but let's see what happens. Defensively, you've got Colwill, Gay, Reece James, who I mentioned, Dan Burn as well, Konza, Lewis Skelly called up for the first time, Livramento, Kwanzaa, and Kyle Walker as well. I think with Walker, I think his best days are behind him, it's fair to say. Again, I've not watched him in an AC Milan shirt. Maybe he's been brilliant. But when I think about what I want the team to look like next summer, in a back 4 or a back 3, it doesn't really include Kyle Walker. Could he still do a job as a right centre-back? Maybe, but I really don't think he was great at the Euros, and I don't think he's going to get any better. So fair enough if you want him in from an experience point of view, but long-term I just don't see it. I think it's got to be Trent unless Reece James can stay fit. I also think Livramento at right-back is decent as well. Left-back, I guess Lewis Skelly will be the one looking at that lineup, although Livramento can play left-back as well. Lewis Skelly has looked okay in an England shirt, in an Arsenal shirt. Obviously, there's been a few occasions recently where he's been a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? He's had the red card and then he got a yellow card and he's been subbed earlier. I can't think of the word that I want to use, but it needs to maybe rein it in a little bit. But it's good to see him in there. I think Lewis Hall is the one. I think him getting injured was really unfortunate because he probably is the England left back going forward. I just think Luke Shaw cannot stay fit. He cannot be relied upon. It's got to be someone new in that position. And I think long term it probably is Lewis Hall. The player that I think can feel a little bit hard done by because of recent performances is Jed Spence. I think in a Spurs shirt he's done really well. And Spurs haven't been that great recently. I think he's one of the players in that team that's actually done okay. And he can play right back and left back so he can cover 2 different positions. But again, if you take him out, if you want to put him in, who are you taking out instead? And I would definitely want Livramento in at right back for this squad. Maybe instead of Lewis Skelly, you could have put Jed Spence in. But I guess with Lewis Skelly, you've got a more natural left back because I think Jed Spence is right-footed despite the fact he can play both sides. In terms of midfielders, I've already spoken about Wharton and Gallagher. There is probably someone I'm missing. I think every time a squad comes out, people get really enraged by certain players that are missing. It looks pretty good to me. Bellingham obviously got to be in. Eze, great. Henderson I talked about. Curtis Jones I think is really good as well. I do wonder actually, I'm not saying they're exactly the same kind of player, but in terms of the role they might play in an England shirt, I wonder if Curtis Jones and Wharton are quite similar. Maybe that's why Tuchel didn't include them both. But again, I would just have Jones and Wharton instead of Jones and Henderson, but I'm not England manager. I'm just some idiot with a webcam and a microphone. Cole Palmer obviously got to be in. It's always interesting when someone like Cole Palmer and Eze are listed as midfielders and not forwards. But I guess looking at the players that are in the forwards, that's more wingers and number 9s rather than players that would play number 10. So I think Morgan Rogers has done well enough, absolutely, to deserve a call-up. But he's just going to have that problem that other players have where there's someone better in his position. I think Cole, if you're going to play a team where you've got a number 10 behind a number 9, it's Cole Palmer, right? Like, I know he's not been great over the last kind of 10 or so games for Chelsea, but he is the one. Remember how well he did off the bench last year? It's got to be Palmer. So I think Morgan Rogers' minutes won't be great, but only because he's got someone better ahead of him. It's the same with the number 9s. It's so hard to get in because you've got Harry Kane there, but I'm really happy to see Rogers in there. And Declan Rice he's just been great. I think sometimes we forget how good Declan Rice is because he's been so consistent. But love the guy. And then forwards, Jared Bowen, Phil Foden, Anthony Gordon, Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford back in as well. Really happy with that. And Dominic Solanke. Ollie Watkins presumably has just got that injury, which is why he's not been included. Otherwise, he would have definitely been in. He picked that up in the Champions League. I think it's quite minor, but I guess you don't want him to be risked, especially when you've got more Champions League matches coming later on. Liam Delap, not included as a number 9. I think that's fine. There was another number 9 I saw someone mention on Twitter. Ivan Toney, also not included, obviously playing in Saudi Arabia. I don't know if that's why. Maybe Tuchel will come out and say it. But yeah, I guess with the way England are going to play and most teams play, you don't need a ton of number 9s. Like if Kane and Solanke get injured, someone else can just fill in that role. So I think it's fine. Foden has not had the best season in a Man City shirt. And under Southgate, there was always this thing of you've got to pick, and to be fair, he kind of said it at one point, so he kind of dug himself a hole. But I don't always agree with the fact you've got to pick form players. Because what you're saying is then, if Harry Kane goes on a 10-game run, 15-game run where he doesn't score, he's out of form, therefore you can't pick him. It would be absolute nonsense to not pick Harry Kane right now in an England squad. So I don't agree with it always has to be players in form. I think Phil Foden has probably underwhelmed overall in an England shirt compared to what we've sometimes seen in a City shirt. I think he has shown glimpses against Netherlands in the Euros last year. He was brilliant, deserved a goal in that game, just didn't come. So I think it's okay to still pick him, right? He's still a quality player. And obviously at the moment, players like Saka are injured, so you haven't got him for that right wing spot. So I guess with this squad, basically looking at it, you've got Bowen and Foden for the right wing, although Foden can play 10 and left wing as well, and false 9 if you needed him to. And you've got Rashford and Gordon for left wing, Solanke and Kane for the middle. I think that's fine. One player for each position, and Jared Bowen's probably good enough to fill that role. But we all know it's Saka's spot, right? I think under Tuchel, that's what will happen. In terms of left wingers, again, is there anyone that's not... There's probably someone really obvious that's not been included that people will be shouting about. I think Gordon's good. He's also had a rest because he's got a red card recently. And Rashford's been good in an Aston Villa shirt. It's obviously only been a short stint since he came in, but I think he has been better. And maybe that move has been good for him. Obviously, it didn't go well under the last year or so in the Man United shirt. But I think he's got that threat from that left wing spot that maybe some of the players just don't have. So, I mean, I'm really interested overall to see how Tuchel gets us playing. Like, I was someone when Southgate was in charge that never really complained. Could he have done better? Yes. I think people overplay how easy it is just to win a tournament. Like, should we have done more in the Italy game and just got that game put to bed? Possibly. If we'd done that, would we have been a little bit more suspect at the back and Italy would have scored earlier? Maybe. Who knows, right? In that, I hate thinking about it, but in that game, penalty shootout, we're ahead, I think, at one point, if I remember correctly. Rashford sends Donnarumma the wrong way. He hits the post. Like, you just can't, as a manager, you can't do anything about those things. So I was always kind of happy. I've enjoyed a lot of summers watching England under Gareth Southgate. But I must admit, when I saw that Tuchel was announced, I was really excited. Because I think for international football, it's difficult to go and get a manager of Tuchel's calibre. Because they just want to manage day to day from a club point of view. Like in terms of tactician and stuff like that, like Tuchel now, given what he's done previously at club level, is probably one of, if not, I don't want to say the best because there's probably managers I'm missing, but he's one of the best managers now managing an international team. And England have got the squad and the players to go and do something. Like, no matter what you say about, you can't say they can go and do something because they haven't won anything yet. I get it, but we've come so close twice. We've been in a final twice. It could happen. No, don't say that. Don't say that. I don't want to say that, but I'm excited to see what Tuchel can do because he's got the players, he's got the previous at club level, like Champions League for Chelsea against Man City, Pep Guardiola, etc. Like the guy is just good. And I think when a lot of people saw him, even non-England fans, when they saw him, probably thought, okay, maybe this is the time. It might not be, right? I don't want to set myself up for another fall, but I'm just excited. Back 4, back 3, whatever, I don't care. Just get England playing well, have the tactics spot on, go for the kill, and let's just see what we can win. I mean, now it's just World Cup qualifiers against Albania and Latvia, so the hype is not that high, but obviously this is the build-up now, and for me, I know everyone is different. Some people absolutely love club football, they hate international. For me, it doesn't get better than watching England, and I don't even know why. I'm not like this massive patriot or anything like that, but for England football is when I get most excited about watching football, I have to say. And yeah, I'm excited to see. I've said excited now a billion times, so I'm going to shut up and end this video. Tuchel, not a bad squad. I don't really get Jordan Henderson. I don't think Kyle Walker's one for the future, but overall, not bad. Ivan Toney and Liam Delap missing out is what it is. I really like Dominic Solanke. I think he's a really good number 9. And if you're not going to have Harry Kane in that position, I think that's fine with Watkins out at the moment. I'd like to see Trent in, though. I want to see how Tuchel uses Trent as a right back or maybe a right wing back. Anyway, I'm leaving it there. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, hit that subscribe button. There might be another video at some point in the future, and I'll catch you soon.